Increasing cash flow is everyone's goal. Who doesn't want a few extra dollars in your pocket? It's your favorite investor, and in this video we will talk about 5 dividend ETFs that focus on increasing your cash flow. Welcome back to the channel where we help you stay invested in the markets and build your wealth. Dividend ETFs are phenomenal. They're tools to help keep the guesswork out of picking dividend stocks, picking individual stocks that sometimes you don't know whether they're going to perform well or even perform with the market. With an ETF, you don't have to worry about purchasing stock in a company that may not perform well in the years to come. And instead, you can focus on a basket of companies. ETFs have grown a lot since the introduction of the S&P 500 index fund. There's an ETF now for almost any sector of the market, and even emerging areas of the market such as cybersecurity, blockchain, or even AI. However, for the purpose of this video, we'll focus on 5 dividend-paying ETFs. We will be going over DGRO, or the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF. We'll also be going over VYM, or Vanguard's High Dividend Yield ETF. We'll also be taking a look at VIG, Vanguard's Dividend Appreciation ETF, Q's JP Morgan NASDAQ Equity Premium Income ETF, and of course, the most talked about stock on YouTube, SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. So we'll start things off and go over or the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF. This is actually a pretty nice dividend ETF, and it's brought to you by BlackRock. A lot of you guys may or may not heard of BlackRock, but they do have a lot of different ETFs. They focus on a lot of different things, and they have a lot of different assets. So this is a very reputable company, one that you can feel safe that your money is going to be secured in. We're currently on Seeking Alpha. I like this site. This is a site that I use for all of my investment analysis and all of my information. This ETF in particular seeks to track the components of the underlying index, the Morningstar US Dividend Growth Index. And the fund seeks to have about 90% of the market capitalization of publicly traded US stocks. So basically, if you're invested in the Morningstar US Dividend Growth, that is the benchmark for this ETF. However, this one is going to focus on putting more cash in shareholders' pockets. And what I mean by that is it currently has a dividend yield of 2.32% with an annual payout of $1.23 per share. Its current 5-year growth rate is 10.64%, meaning that dividends have appreciated 10% year over year for the last 5 years, and the ETF has gone under 8 years of consecutive growth. This ETF has also performed pretty decent with a total return of 69.3% over the last 5 years, comparative to the S&P 500 total return at 76.64%. VYM, or the Vanguard High Dividend Yield Index Fund ETF, is next up on the list, and this fund is also a phenomenal dividend-paying ETF, which actually seeks to track the performance of the FTSE High Dividend Yield Index that measures the investment return of common stocks of companies that are characterized by high dividend yields. So the benchmark for this one is the FTSE High Dividend Yield Fund. So this one as well seeks to provide you with extra dividend payments. They have a current dividend yield of 3.04% and an annual payout of $3.34 per share. Their current 5-year growth rate is 6%, a little bit under what DGRO was providing. However, this stock has been around for a little longer. It's actually had 12 years of consecutive growth. You guys can see the top holdings over there to the left. It has a lot of oil, a lot of consumer staples, and a lot of healthcare names. The performance of this stock has been 85.43% over the last 10 years. Over the last 5 years, the growth on this has only been 29.47%. So understand that in this stock, you are getting that dividend yield. However, you are giving up a lot of capital appreciation on the underlying when compared to DGRO, which you just went over. Next on the list is Vanguard's Dividend Appreciation Index Fund, also known as ticker symbol VIG. This investment seeks to track the performance of the S&P US Dividend Grower. The benchmark is the US Dividend Growers Index. Over the last 10 years, this has seen a total price return of 189.56%. comparative to 224% on the S&P 500. So although it hasn't been keeping up with the S&P 500, what you have been getting is a phenomenal dividend yield at 1.87%, which is just slightly higher than the S&P 500 and has an annual payout ratio of $3.11. The 5-year growth rate on this ETF is 9.89% and has seen 9 years of consecutive dividend income growth. Next on the list is ticker symbol Morgan NASDAQ Equity Premium Income ETF. This investment seeks current income while maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. The fund seeks to achieve this objective by creating an actively managed portfolio of equity securities comprised significantly of those included in the fund's primary benchmark, the NASDAQ 100. So this ETF right here is primarily focused on basically writing covered calls on the NASDAQ 100 while owning the underlying companies that are a part of the NASDAQ 100. And what I mean by that is that this ETF is actually a little more complicated than the others, but you can see top 10 holdings. It holds Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Tesla. And then it seeks to write options on its holdings on the NASDAQ 100. This is why the payout yield, the yield is so high. The dividend yield on this stock currently is 11.65% with an annual payout of $5.67. However, it doesn't have any years of consecutive growth. This is actually one of the babies on this list. This is a very young fund, and when we go and look and we try to compare the price return over the last 10, 5, or 3 years compared to the S&P 500, we're just not able to see that. The only thing that we can go off of is the last year return. The total return on JEPQ has been 14.77%, and the S&P 500 has returned 15.39%. A lot of this is because of the huge tech rally that we have seen. Names like Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, all holdings in JEPQ, those have seen significant price appreciation. So that is one of the things that this fund has, is that with tech, it can definitely rocket. However, with tech, it can also come down, but you will have that nice dividend yield. We just have to see exactly how this will play out in the next coming 3, 5, and 10 years. Last but not least on the list is ticker symbol SCHD, or Schwab's U.S. Dividend Equity. This is a fantastic fund, and this investment seeks to track as closely as possible to the U.S. Dividend 100 index, the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 index. That is your benchmark. It tries to be as close to that as possible. Total returns over the last 10 years have been 198.5%, slightly under the S&P 500 total return of 224.38%. This ETF holds things like Broadcom, UPS, Home Depot. It currently has a dividend yield of 3.47% and an annual payout of $2.60 per share. A 5-year growth rate of 13.92%, which has been one of the highest on our list, and is one of the reasons why people like SCHD so much, because of that dividend growth rate. It has had 11 years of consecutive growth and has done a phenomenal job providing high yields and capital appreciation, which is exactly what you want when you're investing in the stock market. You're playing the long game. When you're playing dividends, you don't want to just go chasing dividend yields. That might be what JEPQ is. It has yet to be determined. However, names like SCHD and DGRO on this list are, I don't want to say guaranteed, but they have a better likelihood of increasing dividend payments and seeing capital appreciation on the underlying security. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. And if you could, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more investing content. Also, be sure to head over to the bestdividendcalculator.com so you can see how your investment strategy using any of these ETFs can look in 30 years. As always, it's your favorite investor, and I'll catch you on the next one.